The next step will be to sear or to saute the onions for the pasta. Now the basic onion technique is the same as the shallot we did earlier in the show. I'm going to take the top off of the onion, the root side, and split it. It's really easy at that point then to peel off the outside layer of the onion. And I'm going to do little strips of onion for this because when I'm making a pasta, I like the things or the items that go into the pasta to be about the same shape. So we're going to use a long, slender pasta today. I want the onions to kind of be the same shape. So I'm going to just make one cut through the semicircle of the onion and then just go about a quarter inch strips, something like this. Okay, we've got the onions sauteing here in the pan, just getting a little bit of that translucence started. The next step is going to be to get the tomato confit ready. Now these tomato confit we cooked, I'm going to make them again a little bit long and slender like we did for the onions, because that pasta, when Craig brings it over, you'll see it's a long pasta that's hand rolled. Any pasta you get that's made of durum wheat, good quality company, is going to be fine. And keep those onions simmering. You can see them starting to get a little more clear, a little bit of color. That's what we want to see. Again, we're cooking these in the same pan that the chicken was cooked in to get the flavors and all the goodness into those onions. Now, I'm going to want to make those tomatoes also long and slender like our pasta. So I'm just going to cut them real quickly into this slightly longer shape. So these tomatoes, and you can see this beautiful oil, that's just the olive oil from the tomatoes and that from the cooking process. And that oil has become scented with the herbs and the juices of the tomato, and it's really going to make us a nice pasta sauce, you'll see in just a minute. Okay, we've got our tomato confit all sliced up and ready to go. We've got the pasta ready. We're going to add in those herbs. About halfway through the chicken process, I'm going to take a look now and see how we're doing. Now remember during the basic move when we were grilling that chicken, how the chicken becomes more firm. This is still pretty squishy, so we have some time. I'm going to turn it over and get that skin side down. You can see how we're getting some nice cooking. Remember the trap door. Oh, still pretty raw in there. So we're going to now sort of bury it in the herbs. Now this is what I'm doing because I didn't want to marinate this one. I wanted to have a really natural chicken flavor. I'll pop that back in the oven. Back to work over here on the pasta. Now we have some nice browning happening with the onions. It's exactly what we're looking for. It looks good there. If you could grab a little bunch of parsley, or a couple of sprigs of parsley there, my friend.
Parsley it is.
All right. Now I'm just going to give this a coarse chop. You make a little bundle. Go through one direction with the knife. Then either turn the stack or turn your body, either way, to get the knife going the opposite direction. So literally 2 passes through a pile of herbs is enough for a coarse chop.
Yes.
So we're going to shake these beautifully caramelized, nice onions here. Going to add in this tomato confit. Now, I've got the tomato and the onion in here. I've got all the juices from when we seared that chicken. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water. And again, we put it in the same dish with the tomato confit because there's so many nice flavors there. Just about a cup is enough. That's all we need. We're just making a little bit of a brothy action for the onions and the tomatoes to sit in. We're going to also add the parsley now, and then the pasta, and then all we'll need is the chicken breast.
Beautiful.
Now I'm going to add the pasta in here. The pasta is fully cooked, but we're going to warm it up with these juices. Now, Craig, if you don't mind just stirring gradually and getting that pasta, you can use these tongs, and this handle is warm. I'm going to add a little bit more water. It'll be about a full cup by the time we're done. Now, while Craig's stirring that pasta, we're going to check out the chicken breast, see how it's doing. Pull it out here. You can see that golden goodness on the skin. Again, the touch. You want to just really quickly touch that. It's hot, but you feel how it's firm, but there's still a little bit of give. Let's set this here. Okay, while the asparagus is warming and that chicken is resting, we're going to tear up the confit from the step up section of the show. You'll see how tender and easy this is to tear apart. We're going to add this into that pasta. It's the last thing we're going to do because if we add this in too early, all of the juices and the delicious flavors will get muddled in with everything else. So we want that confit to have a bright, brilliant flavor. We're going to take that crispy skin and add that in too because the skin is where it's at, my friends. All it needs to do is warm up just a little bit. It doesn't need a lot of heat. I want to keep all that moisture and the juices from that slow cooking from being forced out. Just like resting the other meats when you've cooked them, if you overheat the confit after it's done, you sort of negate all that beautiful time you took to cook it and keep it tender and succulent along the way. Oh, the asparagus is perfect. Nice and hot. Delicioso. All right. Now we have our airline breast. Remember the beautiful bone? This is where it all comes into play, and the reason why we have that bone, you will see now as we're plating. I'm going to slice towards the bone. That helps for a nice fanning effect when I'm actually putting the chicken on the plate. You can see the juices are there. They're not pouring out onto the board, but you can see that the chicken is going to be nice and juicy. Again, we're going for a little bit of a restaurant presentation. You can see, can you see, Craig, the angle of the light, how juicy that is? It's not red and running, it's not bloody, but it's juicy, succulent perfection. Then if you're going big, you might want a little herb garnish on the end, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is go big. Thanks again, Knives and Fire TV. It's the chicken segment. I want to thank Graham, my camera technology guy. I'd like to thank Craig, my faithful assistant, and thank you for joining us, Knives and Fire TV.